The movie starts with a car on the road, being driven by Francis. With him are his wife, Iris, and their two kids, Joshua and Lucas. They are on their way to his parents' old farm after a virus spread that turns people into zombies, transmitted through biting. They arrive at the farm, and Francis opens the house door, entering nervously. The house is in chaos, and it looks like no one has lived in it for a while. He goes upstairs to his parents' bedroom, opens the door, and walks in. He is shocked when he finds his father dead on the bed, with a gun in his hand. Francis approaches, takes the gun from his father's hand, and walks out of the room crying. However, he is surprised when he finds his mom in the hallway. It is clear that she has turned into a zombie and is crawling toward him in a scary scene. Francis is forced to finish her off with the gun before she attacks him. Afterward, he buries his father's body on the farm. Later, while they are in the house, Iris takes Francis to show him something she saw in the basement. He follows her down, and she shows him the power generator. Francis appears worried, as the basement reminds him of his old childhood memories when his dad used to lock him in there. The generator needs gas or fuel to run. At dinner, before they eat, Francis says a prayer of thanks. His son, Joshua, tries to turn on the radio to catch any signal. Francis tells him to stop what he's doing because they are eating. When Iris asks what they'll do next, Francis replies, saying they have enough food and can live in the house. However, Iris wants to know what's happening outside and feels like they'll be isolated. Francis tells her they have to take care of themselves, as the outside is too dangerous. After dinner, Iris talks to him, mentioning that she's noticed how badly he treats Joshua. She reminds him that he promised to treat their son well. We'll understand more later about why she's saying this. That night, Francis has a scary nightmare where he sees his dad. He wakes up terrified, and Iris hugs him, calming him down. The next day, Francis talks to Iris and reassures her that they're safe here. From their conversation, we learn that Francis had a tough childhood in this house, and his dad used to hit him and lock him in the basement. Iris tells him she's worried about the house. And from their conversation, we also understand that Francis found out she cheated on him before with his brother, Diego. He learned of it late, after Joshua was born, and now doubts that Joshua is even his son. Iris reminds him that they've already talked about this before and agreed to leave the past behind, not letting it affect them. That day, they drive north because they heard there's a camp where everyone is going. While Francis is driving, Joshua says he heard Diego talking to their mom on the phone about the camp in the north. At that moment, Francis realizes that his wife has talked to his brother Diego. He suspects their relationship is back on, calls her a liar, and accuses her of cheating. Iris asks him not to talk like that in front of the kids, explaining that it was just a phone call and nothing else. But Francis continues to call her bad names. Francis is forced to stop the car on the bridge because there's a fence blocking the road in front of them. Iris sees that he needs to get out and try to push the fence to open the road, but Francis disagrees, thinking it's better to go back to the farmhouse. Iris gets out of the car to move the fence herself. She walks past the parked cars on the bridge, unsure if what she's doing is dangerous or not. She reaches the fence and tries to move it, hitting it hard. The sound attracts a zombie, which gets closer to her. Francis quickly gets out of the car, orders his wife to get down on the ground, pulls out the gun, shoots the zombie, and finishes it off. He runs quickly to check on his wife. Meanwhile, the zombies begin surrounding the car where Joshua and Lucas are. Francis shoots one of the zombies and makes the others chase him, allowing Iris to get the kids out of the car and escape with them. Francis continues shooting at the zombies until he runs out of ammo. He then notices a grenade on the dead zombie's suit. He takes it, wraps it around the car, and waits for the zombies to chase him. As they climb over the cars, he runs on top of them and throws the grenade. The explosion takes out the zombies, and Francis runs to catch up with his wife and kids. They are seen walking back to the farm on foot, having left the car behind on the bridge. 2 weeks later, we see Francis returning to the same bridge to retrieve the car. Before he moves it, he hesitates, deciding not to drive it back. After a while, his family sees him returning home with some supplies he gathered. Iris asks him about the car, and Francis lies, telling her it's broken and doesn't work. It becomes clear that he did this because he wants to stay at the farm and keep his family with him. He goes down to the basement, puts the gas he brought into the power generator, and turns it on. The electricity comes on in the whole house, and the kids are thrilled. Francis turns on the music player and dances with them. That night, Joshua is in his room with his brother, Lucas, talking. Lucas mentions that he's noticed their dad has been treating him badly since he fought with their mom, and asks if Joshua knows why they fought. Joshua lies, saying he doesn't know. However, it's revealed that Joshua actually knows about the cheating, as he overheard his parents talking about it before. The next morning, Francis talks to his wife, Iris, apologizing and promising to try from now on to be good to her and to Joshua. He sees their life on the farm as a second chance to fix things between them. At the same time, Joshua is outside the house, trying to get his radio to catch a signal. He finally succeeds and hears a broadcaster talking about the camp in the north, but the signal cuts off before he can hear more. Joshua calls his parents and tells them he heard the broadcaster mention a camp in the north, but the signal cut off. Francis gets upset, dismisses what Joshua heard, and leaves them, going back inside the house. At dinner, Iris talks and tells Francis that they have to go to the camp in the north. She asks him to fix the car that's broken on the bridge and bring it back. Francis gets upset and tells her that the danger is outside, and as long as they're in the house, they'll be safe. If they go out, they'll die. Lucas, scared, says he doesn't want to die, so Francis hugs him and reassures him. The next day, Francis is working in the farmhouse when Joshua comes to talk to him. He says he can't find anything to do, feels bored, and wants to go to the bridge to fix the car and bring it back. Francis gets angry, telling him that they would have died on the bridge if it wasn't for him. He saved them, and thanks to him, they're still alive. He challenges Joshua, asking if he can kill a zombie. Joshua, hyped up, says he can. Francis decides to take him outside the farm, giving him the gun and telling him to aim at a target and show if he's really a man and can shoot. Joshua gets nervous and misses the target. Francis teaches him how to hold the gun properly. At that moment, Iris and Lucas show up because they heard the noise. Francis continues to provoke Joshua until he snaps, shooting at the target multiple times while yelling. The gunfire attracts a large number of zombies. They are shocked and run back to the house, with Francis quickly shutting the door behind them. The zombies surround the house, and there are a lot of them. Suddenly, they hear a car on the road, which catches the zombies' attention and lures them away. The zombies run after the car. The next day, Francis goes to the lake next to the farm and finds his brother, Diego, sitting next to the car. Francis asks him why he came here, and Diego explains that his wife and young daughter got infected and turned into zombies. That's why he decided to stop by their parents' house to check if they're okay before heading to the camp in the north. He tells Francis that he saw them yesterday, trapped by zombies in the house. To get their attention, he made noise with the car and led the zombies away. Diego tells Francis that their parents are dead now, and he's living with his family in the house. He no longer needs Francis' help. He apologizes for cheating with Iris, explaining it happened a long time ago and that Francis should let it go. Diego then says he wants to protect Francis and his family and suggests they go together to the camp in the north. Francis gets mad, pulls out the gun, and tells Diego to stay away from his family and leave. Diego understands, gets in his car, but before he leaves, he pulls out a map and leaves it on the ground in case Francis changes his mind and decides to go to the camp. Diego drives off, and Francis picks up the map. He's about to burn it, but changes his mind and decides to keep it. Francis goes back home and lies to Iris, telling her that Diego turned into a zombie and died. Later, Francis starts adding more defenses to the house, boarding up the windows with wooden planks. His family isn't happy about what he's doing. Eventually, Lucas goes down to the basement to see what's going on and notices a zombie through the window. His mom shows up behind him and reassures him, telling him not to be scared because the zombies are looking weak now. Francis hears this and goes outside the farm to check on the zombie. He finds that the zombie is indeed weak, to the point that it can't even attack him. Francis stabs the zombie with a knife, cuts off its head, and yells for his wife as he returns to the house, holding the zombie's head in his hand. His kids get scared by the scene, and Iris asks him what he's doing. Francis, angry, replies that zombies are everywhere, they're super dangerous, and they have to stay in the house to be safe. Iris looks at him confused and goes inside. From this, we understand that Francis did this to make them believe there's a huge danger outside and to convince them to stay in the house. After that, Francis takes off his clothes and goes to take a shower. He hears a noise in the room, so he gets out and finds Joshua there. Joshua says he was looking for Lucas and then leaves the room. But it's clear that Joshua noticed the map. At night, Francis throws a Christmas celebration at home. He sits with them at the table and tries to create a festive mood for his family. He asks them what they wish for this Christmas. Joshua says he wishes for a map like the one he saw in the room. Iris looks at Francis and asks him what map he's talking about. Francis lies and tells them there are no maps with him, but it's obvious they don't believe him. Then they ask Lucas what he wishes for, and Francis answers for him, saying he wishes to have another son and that he thinks it's time. Iris is surprised that he wants to have another baby while the world is falling apart from the outbreak. She tells him that she doesn't want to live in that house and doesn't think it's normal for them to stay there. Her wish is to leave the house. She tells him they won't be able to survive living like this. The food isn't good, everything is bad, and the zombies outside seem weak now, not as strong as before. There's no reason to stop them from going out to the car and heading to the northern camp. But Francis disagrees and says no one but him can protect the kids and that they're safe because of him. He insists they're staying inside the house. Iris, frustrated, suggests that he should at least let her go out alone to look for food and come back. But Francis tells her he doesn't trust she'll come back. Then, in front of the kids, he says that their mom wanted to leave them before the outbreak started. Both of her sons look at her and ask if that's true. Iris confesses, crying, that she wasn't happy with their dad and that she was really hurting in the relationship. Francis gets mad and tells the kids that's not the real reason. The real reason is that she wanted to leave them and go be with his brother Diego, who she was cheating with. Iris breaks down and screams at him, telling him she wants to leave him because the relationship has become toxic. She asks him to give them the map and let them leave. So Francis pulls out the map and burns it in front of them. Iris tries to stop him but can't, so she slaps him out of anger and leaves them. After that, Francis sits with his kids and orders them to finish eating. The next day, while he's at the farm, Francis hears a sound coming from far away. He runs back to the house and locks the door with an iron bar. He tells them there are lots of zombies outside. Joshua doesn't believe him and tells him he's lying because they haven't seen any zombies out there for a while. He accuses him of leaving the car on the bridge and burning the map just to keep them trapped in the house with him, just like his dad used to lock him in the basement when he was a kid. Francis gets furious and hits him, saying angrily that he did everything for them and they're staying in the house and not leaving. At that moment, they hear someone knocking on the door, saying from outside that he's a soldier and begging them for water. But Francis refuses to open the door and threatens him, saying he has a gun and will shoot after counting to 3. But Iris opens the door and the soldier comes in. He calms them down and says he's not bitten and didn't get infected. He tells them he's from a northern camp and that the camp is half a day away. They finally confirm the camp is real, just like they heard. The soldier continues, explaining that he was on a mission outside the camp with his team, but zombies attacked them on their way back, and he's the only one who survived. He tells them that a man named Diego helped him and told him to come to this house and take shelter in it. Then Iris looks at Francis and tells him he's a liar because he said Diego was dead. Francis orders her to stay away from the soldier, but she refuses and insists on helping him. So, Francis is forced to agree, but on one condition. He takes the soldier to the basement and locks the door to make sure he's not infected and won't turn into a zombie later. That night, Joshua wakes his mom up and tells her he's decided to leave the house and that he has to do it instead of staying because he feels like his dad doesn't love him and doesn't want him. Iris hugs him and comforts him while he cries. Joshua tells her that he knows Francis isn't his real dad and that his real dad is Uncle Diego. He says they need to get away from Francis because he's not a good person. But Iris tells him she can't leave his little brother, Lucas, behind. Joshua says goodbye before he leaves the house. Then we go to Francis, who wakes up stressed after having another nightmare. He finds out that Iris let the soldier out of the basement. He asks her where Joshua is, but she doesn't answer. So he goes looking for Joshua and finds the door open, realizing Joshua ran away and left the house. Then he comes back, holding a hammer, and without saying anything, he hits the soldier with it and kills him. Iris and Lucas are shocked by what he did. Francis comes toward them and tells Iris she's not going to leave him like her son did. Then he hits her and she passes out. When she wakes up, she finds herself locked in the basement with her son, Lucas. The door is shut tight. Meanwhile, Francis is drinking and eating breakfast in front of the dead soldier. He hears a dog barking outside the house and sees it through the window. It's clear he gets an idea. Then he opens the basement door and goes down to Iris and Lucas with some grilled food. He sits and eats, offering to share it with them. Iris asks him where he got the grilled food from, and she doesn't want Lucas to eat it. Francis gets mad and throws the food on the floor. Then he kneels to pick it up, and Iris notices a small knife on the ground. She slowly tries to grab it, but Francis looks at her before she can, and she stops, pretending she agrees to stay with him in the house. She gets closer to him to trick him so he doesn't notice the knife. But Francis tells her he doesn't trust her, pushes her away, takes the knife from the floor, and leaves the basement, locking the door behind him. Iris breaks down in anger and starts screaming. That night, Francis wakes up to the sound of his son, Lucas, screaming in pain from the basement. He rushes down to check on him, but surprise, Iris sneaks up behind him and stabs him in the back with a knife. It was all a trap she and Lucas set up. She grabs the keys from him, and she and Lucas run out of the basement quickly and lock him inside. Francis loses it, starts yelling, and shoots at the door until his gun runs out of bullets. Then he starts hallucinating, thinking his dad is in front of him and about to hit him like he used to when he was a kid. Francis starts crying and screaming in fear, like he's totally lost his mind. And then we see Iris with Lucas quickly packing the stuff they need. She goes to the door, unlocks the chain, and they go outside, but they're shocked when they see a zombie in front of the house, eating a corpse. That zombie turns out to be Diego, Francis's brother. They run back into the house fast, and Diego chases them inside. They run upstairs, and Diego catches up, grabbing Iris's leg and trying to bite her. She protects herself with a medical bag she has and stops him from biting her. Lucas gets scared for his mom and runs over, yelling at Diego. Diego sees him and lets go of Iris, then attacks Lucas. Iris gets up and hits Diego, so he lets go of her son and tries to bite her again. But she grabs a chair and tries to push him back. At that moment, Francis manages to break the basement door and comes out. He runs over and hits Diego with the handle of the gun, hitting him on the head like crazy. Then he stops and asks Iris if she let Diego into the house. Iris, scared, says she didn't. Francis accuses her of ruining the family by betraying him and wanting to leave. Right before he hits her, they hear their son Lucas calling for his mom, and they're shocked when they see he's been bitten by Diego. Iris runs to him and tries to treat him. She asks Francis to help her, but he refuses. He just sits there, scared like a little kid, unable to do anything. So, Iris decides to use the medical tools to cut off Lucas's arm before the infection spreads. Lucas screams in pain, but she has to do it to save his life. She wraps the bandage around the cut to stop the bleeding. Francis hears her yelling at him, telling him they have to take their son to the hospital and they need a car. That's when Francis snaps out of it, gets up fast, and runs out of the house to go to the bridge. He reaches the bridge and finds a car there. But then, Joshua is there, holding a rifle. Joshua sees the blood all over his dad and thinks he turned into a zombie, so he panics and shoots him. He walks closer and realizes his dad wasn't infected. He starts crying and apologizing while watching him die. Then Joshua gets in a car, crying, and drives back to the house. Back at the house, Iris and her son Lucas are waiting. She sees the car headlights from outside as it approaches, and the movie ends. See you in the next recap. If you're vibing with the video, make sure to slam that like and spill your opinions and comments. I'm hyped to read them. And yo, gotta subscribe so you catch all the straight fire recaps coming soon.